Hello again, welcome. So I'm going to dive in a little deeper with the peyote stitch to start out with. So there are a variety of ways that you can peyote bead. To start, I just want to show the difference between peyote and brick stitch. If you can see here, the peyote stitch has the cylinder beads going with the threads are going left to right here, and you have a down bead, up bead, down bead, up bead, and you're beading across this way, back and forth. There is odd count and even count. We can look at that a little closer down here if my camera will. There we go. So with the odd count, you've got beads 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You're beading those on at the same time. Your rows 1 and 2 go on your thread at once. You turn around and you start with 8, 9. So you're putting the next bead in between 4 and 6. The 10th bead goes between 2 and 4. Then there's your 11. So with the odd count, you have to do a funny little turn to get back going the other way, but that's a technique that's easy to pick up. The even count is a little bit easier. You have your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So you're just going back and forth. Even count is much easier for beginners. With the brick stitch, you have your cylinder beads going this way, but your thread's going up and down. It still looks like you have up and down beads here, but brick stitch, you're laying bricks. You're still working from bottom to top, and we'll get into that in a little bit. So with the flat stitch peyote, I'm working on a tapestry piece of work here. There's thousands of beads in this piece, and it's a little difficult to see since I'm using clear beads, but you can see the up beads and gaps in between them. So what I'm doing is I'm following a pattern. Down here, my pattern will tell me what colors to put in between these, and I just work all the way across, back down, and I just keep going. So that is a flat peyote. This is another example of flat peyote. I made a bracelet out of this one. The difference here is that I actually made a bunch of squares. So if you can visually see, that's a square right there between my thumbs. I took from the center and beaded around in peyote style until I got the size of square I wanted. And then once all my squares were done, I threaded them all together to create this bracelet. Another example of flat peyote stitch using a three-dimensional method, starting again in the center, working your way out, doing peyote, adding a bead in between each one. But when I get to a corner where I want to increase and cause the curves, I'm adding 2 beads in the corner instead of just 1. And that causes it to curve by increasing the amount of beads there. So that will become a 3-dimensional turtle box. The more simple peyote style beading that we are more familiar with, feathers and keychains. And this is round peyote, where you're beading around something. And you can start here or here, but you can work your way around all the way till you get to the top, and your up and down beads will be here. The other method you might have seen with beading lighters sometimes you do the flat stitch like this, and because peyote is so flexible, you can curl it around and take these beads that meet up here and thread through, and that way you have a flat surface. That's more popular with the lighters. You can do it with this too. So you take that, thread it through. I'm going to show you how to bead a keychain today.